Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel. It's been a minute, like 5 months or 6 months, since I uploaded my first video ever. Even now, like, I feel like it's pretty cringy, so I'm probably gonna take it down. So this could be my first video ever, except not really, but I suffer from anxiety and yeah, I've been trying to figure out what video to do next. I'd actually filmed a storytime video about the most memorable, worst experience I had working at Walmart. I also have like some stories I could tell about working at Hot Topic and working at Ross, probably a few others. I don't know, I've been kind of in like a spooky mood lately, and I figured that could actually be a big part of my channel is the fact that I live in Georgia and I've grown up in Georgia. And one of the great things about living in the South, known to be pretty haunted, I guess. Like if you pull up a list of like the top most like famous haunted places in the US or whatever, there are like a few in the South. I'd really like for it to be a thing that I do on my channel, to share maybe ghost stories that I grew up with from my area, other like famous and not as famous ghost stories in Georgia. I mean, people have their own like opinions about living in the South, or you know, more specifically living in like Georgia or whatever. I mean, I don't really like the area I live in. It's like northwestern Georgia. I'm closer, I guess, to the foot of the Appalachia, so I definitely have some like hillbilly stories as well as like redneck stories, and that's pretty frustrating because I'm obviously neither of those things. It is fun, like growing up, being like an everyday kind of thing, to hear ghost stories. Probably the only advantage to living in what's considered like the heart of Southern Bible Belt or whatever. I grew up like 50% Baptist, 50% Catholic, and 100% skeptic. Fun times for this one. Religious people, of course, like it kind of comes with it, believe in ghosts and spirits and blah blah blah. And again, being someone who isn't religious, I don't see hauntings as being like, I guess I don't view ghosts as being the same thing as most people do. I get like energies and people leaving energies. What I thought I would do to kind of kick off this, I hope to be a series, is start with my first ever experience with a haunting. I was really young, I want to say 9 or 10, and my great-grandmother had just passed away. So we were all at her house, which now my grandmother and granddaddy's house. Me, I called her my cousin, but she was like a cousin by marriage, I guess you could say. We were the only 2 girls. Then it was like my brother, 2 of my closer cousins that I knew, and one like cousin that lived in Florida at the time. So there were 4 boys, and then it was just me and my cousin, we'll call her Carrie. Carrie and I decided like we weren't gonna play with the boys, like we had no interest in playing with them whatsoever, not gonna do it. We were playing in that front bedroom, and the way the house, it was like an old house, or it's an old house. It's really a farmhouse, but like doesn't look like, I guess, what you would think a farm, like it's a brick house. But in the front of the house you have a really long like living room or like family room or whatever. It's basically the room I grew up knowing as the room with no TV. And then again, there's a front bedroom, and then on the other side is a dining room. When you walk in, you can go straight and there's like a little hallway. You either go straight into a bathroom or turn left, and that's your family room, the room with the TV, and the kitchen. You can also get to the kitchen through like the dining room. And then of course if you take a right in that hallway, it's the like master, I guess what would be the master bedroom. So now that you know the layout of the house, we were just like playing and stuff, and of course boys being boys, they'd like tap on the windows and like try to annoy the absolute nonsense out of us. Like they did. We got like super annoyed. So what we had decided to do, because that room, like when you looked out the door, so like the door's here, you look out the door and you see right like jutting out this way, like you see the hallway, and you can actually see into like the family room, which is again behind the large like living room, but really you walk out into the living room, and again it's long. Another thing to note is like the flooring is like all hardwood floors. So we had decided to block these boys out because they would like come bursting in the room, and they're being boys, they were being annoying. So what we decided to do was lock the door, like close the door and lock it so that they couldn't get in. Before we closed and locked the door, we decided to test it to actually make sure it locked. Noise. I had Carrie stand on one side, like I locked the door, she tried to get in. And then of course we switched places just to like double make sure. We may have been like young children, but we knew those boys. We knew they were gonna try to like find their way in. So we double tested it, okay? Both times could not open the door. It was locked, like legitimately locked. Okay, keep that in mind. It was locked. They tried to get in once. We were just like, leave us alone. We could hear them like running around outside. A few minutes go by. We've been like playing minding your own business. We start hearing like footsteps in the front living room. And I'm just like, oh my God, what are they doing? Like back and forth, like not hurried, just like footsteps. Instead of like opening the door and whatever, just in case they were standing there trying to like scare us or whatever, we look under the door. We're looking for their feet. We didn't see anything. We're like, okay, maybe they just went away. So we go back to playing. A few minutes later, more footsteps. We look again and nothing at all. And I mean, we're not like, it's not footsteps then we wait a few minutes and then look. It's like footsteps and we like immediately look. Getting like a little annoyed slash freaked out. So we go back to like our dolls. Then like we hear the knob move. Tried it again. Just like, okay, it's locked. Like, leave us alone. And then the next thing we know, whew, ugh, thinking about it, like retelling this, oh, gives me so much chills. Okay, it stops for a second. There's no sound. And then the door flings open and we have a moment, both of us kind of petrified, look at each other, and then scream, like shrill, blood-curdling screams, because that door was locked. It was locked. And even after it like flung open, there was no one there, like at all. We scream and scream. Nobody's coming. Nobody's even calling out to us. And it felt like we screamed for at least a minute or two, which that's a long time to be screaming. Finally, both of us find like our courage to get up. The family room, where everyone was sitting, by the way, was like a couple of steps from the doorway of this bedroom. There's not much separating us. Nothing. We run in there and we're just like, we were screaming. Why did no one come in there? They just look at us like, what? What are you talking about? We didn't hear anything. To this day, we didn't scream, according to anyone else. So after that happened, I mean, of course I couldn't brush that off. Whenever anything like that happens, yeah, it's scary because it's not normal. Obviously, it's paranormal. I remember going to the library after that happened, and I found a book. It was very interesting. That was a handful of like real life ghost stories, and I read some of those, and some of those to this day have stuck with me. I want to make this a regular series. Next time I want to do one of the most popular ghost stories that I grew up with from like my area specifically, so I'm going to gather that up. If you did enjoy the story, please feel free to leave me a like. I've been working on trying to get this channel going, so I will be posting more videos. Feel free to subscribe. If you want to, turn on that post notification bell so that when I do post some more ghost stories, or if I do some workplace story times, you'll be notified when those go up. I'll catch you next time. Bye.